Is it more towards here?
I think so.
Over there?
Yeah, that's good. Alrighty. Hi, everyone. We've got a couple minutes.
I feel like I sleep good till I look at myself in
No,
the...
I
God, I thought I did good last night, but
okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And as always, thank you for joining us for the Glove Lab. We love having you all here. We're going to get started in 2 minutes. We are prompt here.
Yeah, I forgot our
just give us
opening
a
screen
second.
at my desk, so you're gonna have to forgive me.
Oh, graphics.
I'll superimpose
Okay.
something later. That's something.
So we always love to ask questions. So drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. And because today is all about sustainability, I guess the question of the day is, when you hear sustainable gloves, like that kind of word or that phrase, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? We're always curious to know. So
That's true.
let us know.
Sustainability is not a little thing. There's
No.
a lot of things you can do.
There's a lot.
Like compostable, biodegradable,
There's a lot. Yeah.
throwing away less material, using less products,
Yep.
reusing products.
Which we can't do, but yes.
I always think sustainable for me is like also made out of better materials.
Uh-huh.
Like I feel like if I buy something, like let's say it's 100% organic cotton, I
Yeah.
feel like that's more sustainable than something that's not. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the landfill part, or maybe if it breaks down. I just feel like if it came from the earth, it's more sustainable. I don't know why, but in
It's
my head,
marketing.
that's where I go.
Yeah.
That's where I go. It's like if it's natural, it's more sustainable. And I don't know why I think that way.
I think that way too. You think of like processed foods. It's like, oh, that's worse for you, you know? So
That's
then you
true.
think
maybe it's
about
just
like
more
maybe
natural. It's just
like,
nicer.
like coming straight
I
from
don't
the
know.
ground is better.
Never really thought about it.
Yeah. I also think sustainability, like for me, is like it doesn't have to just mean like planet thing. It's how you treat people, you know, those different things too.
Oh,
It's like
Okay.
it can be a lot of, I mean, if you look at like the UN sustainability goals, it like encompasses so many things
Oh, that's
instead
true.
of just.
I
like,
never really thought of that, but
environmental
it can be
sustainability.
beyond the tree leaves.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I get it.
Okay, so it is 10, so we're gonna get started here. Thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate it. We love talking to people. So we actually, if you paid attention, we did do this topic last year. So it is March and it is B Corp month. And so having a sustainability focus is kind of, it just works this month. So we're doing it again. And last year we talked about whether a disposable glove company can actually be sustainable. But this year we're doing it a bit differently. And we're going to be talking about like asking, can gloves be sustainable? We're saying sustainability in food. This is our theme. Sustainability and food safety, what actually matters. That's our focus.
We want to focus a little bit on the gloves, the product themselves, food safety, and then also kind of like where the conversation's at, because things do change, things evolve over time.
Mhm.
And right now we're kind of hearing food safety teams asking, are sustainability claims legitimate? What should I be paying attention to? And then at the same time, am I sacrificing my food safety to get something that's more sustainable? Because they're also in the spot where they have to balance like a company's goals, but then they also have to do their job of maintaining safety. So there's also a balance there of trying to do multiple things at the same time.
Yes, it's a tough one for sure. So
I suppose we never said who we were. Sorry. I'm Sarah.
Yeah, I'm Ashley, and we're with Eco Protect.
We work for Eagle Protect. We're out in California. And Eagle Protect is a disposable glove and clothing supplier. What makes us a little different is that we developed a proprietary glove testing program. So a range of our products, when they come in, we actually test them, send them to labs, and make sure they're as clean as we say they are, as durable as we say they are. They're not full of holes. They don't have the chemicals on them that are going to get on your skin, that kind of a thing. So we try to have, from start to finish, traceability. We audit our factories. Like you were saying, respect the workers, being B Corp month. That's a big thing for us, is making sure that our factory workers are respected. They have their lights, their lights. Oh
their lights are on.
Sorry, I still got the thick tongue. Their rights respected at the factories. They're paid, they're treated well, that kind of a thing. All the way down to the end user, where we want them protected. We want the gloves to work, and we don't want them full of chemicals. So it's The whole
shebang.
whole chain.
Yep. And to talk about B Corp, maybe we should mention that we are the world's first B Corp certified company in the glove space. Or is that the right way of saying that? In the glove space.
Industry.
So that's pretty exciting. We are not the only one now, which is also exciting.
Yes.
We always want to see that. So that's great. All right. So first section of the day is the false trade-off between safety and sustainability. So there's this idea that those two things, safety and sustainability, cannot go hand in hand. And that's true. Not our belief.
Kind of like I had said, where the quality assurance team, the food safety team, they need to balance between doing their job, but and then also if the company has corporate goals and they have sustainability things that they're trying to achieve and everybody needs to work for it, there's a balance between that. And we disagree. We think both can be done at the same time and done well. Mm-hmm. So it's not something where you have to sacrifice on each side. They can be done well at the same time. But I will admit that disposable gloves are disposable. So it kind of like initially when you think of disposable gloves, you think of probably the worst thing you can do for the planet.
Right. You're like, bad company.
You use it and you throw it away. You use it and you throw it away. So I understand how just at first glance, disposable gloves and sustainability really don't seem like they sit at the same table.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need disposable gloves right now until we come up with something better. We need disposable gloves for the food safety to make sure the hands aren't touching the food. Mm-hmm. We have hand washing, but washing around your fingernails isn't completely, you're not sanitizing underneath your fingertails. I'm sorry, you guys, my tongue is too thick today.
You're not sanitizing your fingertails.
Don't sanitize your fingertails. But so then you need the gloves. There's other reasons to need the gloves. At the same time, when your hands are in the gloves, they can get a little sweaty and gooey. Like you need the gloves to work.
Yeah.
So we can't sacrifice on the food safety part because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be eating sweaty sandwiches.
No.
And but then at the same time, it's really good to do your due diligence and protect the world. So how you can do that is, from our perspective, having a higher quality glove allows the glove to be a little bit thinner, mm-hmm. and then it allows the glove to last a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So you're using less. When you do throw it away, you throw away less material. Mm-hmm. If it rips less often, you're using less gloves.
Yep.
So there's multiple ways you can also add to the sustainability efforts by using a better glove that actually keeps gloves out of the landfill because you're using less of a better glove and it's a thinner glove when it does go in there. So it's kind of actually balancing on both sides of the fence.
Right. And it's like people will say like, oh, well, it's just a lot of money. But we've really hammered home that
that's not true. That's not true. I mean, if you go case to case, we are cost competitive, but we've also proven that our gloves compared to some gloves on the market, you use 30% less of our gloves. Like our gloves crazy. In the long run can actually save money. So I don't know. Is there budget sustainability? Is that
come on, guys. Yeah. So there is a way to maintain high safety standards and feel like you are being a good steward for the world, while you have good gloves. So it is possible. So there really can be safety and sustainability.
True. Yeah. All right. So myth number one we have here that we kind of want to go over is compostable gloves are automatically better. Mm-hmm. Compostable is a great word. It is a word that things break down. It composts. I want to compost in my garden, but we have bears up here, so I cannot.
We can't?
Well, they get in your yard.
Oh, shoot.
They can, I think unless you have...
think of that.
Yeah, no, unless you have like the lock bin, it's like they can get in your pile.
I do like the little mini one like under my like sink. But I never even thought, I never even thought like, we can't do the bigger.
No, my neighbor has one in his backyard. He has bears in there all the time.
Oh my goodness. Sorry.
We live in the mountains. So compostable gloves are typically made from PLA, which is polylactic acid, which is derived from fermented plant starch. And so, yay, made from plants. It just sounds promising.
So exciting.
It is.
It's from the ground.
That's like I said, if things are made from natural things, I
feel better about it.
I think they're sustainable.
I agree.
Yeah.
But like how much, because we're talking about marketing and, how much of it is really from the ground. Like, what are we, like sometimes you're like, all right, well. Anyway.
So when they have the compostable gloves, though, the compostable gloves do break down at a different rate. And they are there hasn't been the science done on them for us to know that they're not breaking down in the box during use. They can withhold have the durability that gloves need, that kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
when it comes to compostable, it is a great thing, and we're hoping that maybe it gets there. But right now, we just don't feel like the science that we've seen from the studies of compostable gloves have that nice balance of the food safety with being compostable.
Yeah, and the other side to this as well is that it's kind of more of a practical issue with compostable gloves. So they require industrial composting facilities to break down properly. And unfortunately, there's not a lot around.
That's true.
So there's a limited number of those facilities in the US. And so most gloves, compostable or not, they will end up in a landfill.
When a product breaks down at an increased rate, if you will, they need to be in a certain environment for whatever they're made out of. So you can't just, like, I couldn't just toss them in my neighbor's compost pile in the backyard and then they're going to break down. They need to be in the right environment and have the right situation for that to happen also. So even if intentions are there, it's like the whole situation needs to be right for that product to be what that product should be.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that it gets somewhere. It's something we're hopeful for. It would be really nice if we got it there, but then we also feel like protecting people from foodborne illnesses are just absolutely horrid, and they kill thousands and thousands of people a year. And so that's something where we just don't feel like the science is there to sacrifice and risk that yet.
Yes. And then I think there's another important note about compostable gloves with like FDA requirements, if you want to go over that. I don't know too much.
For the FDA, that's where we just, when it comes to their standards and stuff, we just think that nitrile is better.
Yeah.
We would recommend nitrile right now.
Yep. Okay. So section 3, which is pretty similar. Myth number 2, biodegradable nitrile is the environmental solution. So this is, biodegradable nitrile gloves are traditional nitrile gloves with additives. And these basically just accelerate the breakdown of a nitrile glove in the landfill environment. So you're like, oh, that's great. It's amazing.
It does.
Great.
And biodegradable can be a great thing. It means that microorganisms break down the material in a biologically active landfill environment. So that's where the environment has to be right to be what that product needs to break down. So it needs all the way along the chain, things need to be right. But there's a little bit of nuances in there, because since the glove breaks down faster, it's actually releasing the carbon dioxide at an increased rate, because instead of a slow release over time as it breaks down, it's releasing quickly. And so the carbon dioxide goes into the air faster because the breakdown time is, if it's in the right environment, is quicker. And so this is something when people do sustainability studies, the release of carbon dioxide in the world is something that they measure, and it's taken into however they do their formulas and calculations and things like that. So the science behind it is still evolving. I mean, biodegradable, it hasn't been around for hundreds and hundreds of years, and neither is compostable. So these are things where they're still evolving.
Yeah. Definitely. But there is something interesting to note. So the biodegradable standards that we have, which I apologize if I butcher this, but ASTM D5526 is a biodegradable standard. And that has been withdrawn by the ASTM International because there was no correlation between this test for biodegradability and actual landfill biodegradability. So that sounds very convoluted, but basically it's exactly what Sarah said. The science behind it just hasn't totally connected the dots between claims of biodegradability and the actual breakdown in a landfill. And then there's another standard, the D5511 standard. And it's also being reevaluated by the Advanced Standards Transforming Markets, and that's what the ASTM is. And so that is more of like the technical side of kind of how they're looking at biodegradability at the moment. When there are updates, we'll let you know.
So that is, I had to look up what ASTM stands for. We always just say ASTM.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of the two parts of the code that have to do with biodegradability. And then, so these are also like the really smart people, the really smart scientists. They're the ones that set the standards. And then when a glove meets the standards, it can put that on the box that it's biodegradable, that kind of a thing. So since that was repealed, actually gloves are having to now phase out and process out and not have that standard on the side because they repealed it. So it's something where the science is evolving, we're learning more. But then at the same time, gloves are also evolving and new products are coming out, or the new materials. So it's like, it's kind of meeting it both ways, where like if something new comes out, it has to be tested and proven. And so it is a little bit of a back and forth, but that has been a recent change as of, I think, the end of last year that happened. It was maybe around like the September-ish, November-ish kind of a thing. So it is something where gloves previously were called biodegradable, but technically no longer they can be now.
Yep.
Yeah, it was not a sentence, but you know what I mean.
Yes. So section 4, now moving on to myth number 3 that we have. Sustainability is impossible with a disposable product. We kind of touched on this before, but we don't agree.
It's a little bit of a different, because kind of up to now we've talked about like the materials. It's the materials it's made out of, the materials in the landfill. It's the materials. But when it comes to gloves itself, there's actually the biggest problem we come across is, I'm sure everybody that's heard us before, it's ripping. And gloves rip, and they constantly rip, and then the workers put 2 gloves on because if the top one rips, then the bottom one's still there. They have to change their gloves more often. If they're ripping, it's like, oh, rip, change. And so they're going through gloves more quickly. Wasted. So yes, the time wasted, but then also like, just, I mean, think of your little waste basket. Like they got this cute little waste baskets on the production floor.
The little ones.
But the waste baskets that are going to be there, if my gloves are always ripping and I'm always changing gloves, like how fast that waste bucket is going to fill up versus if I can wear the gloves for 2 minutes to an hour, you know, like if it lasts longer, it's just how much less I'm actually putting in the waste in the landfill and that kind of a thing.
Right.
I did do some math. I cannot fast math in my head, so I wrote it down for everybody. And this is just kind of an example of this. So if gloves are ripping all of the time, let's say you just have complete crap gloves. You have a 4 mil, which is kind of a standard thickness in the industry.
Yep.
You have a just crap 4 mil, okay?
It rips when I put it on.
It weighs 4.2 grams. Every single glove weighs 4.2 grams.
Okay.
If I get you to switch to the Eagle glove, and we have to make sure the glove works, but if you go to our thinnest glove, which we have done for many companies, it's 2.6 mil, so it's a little bit thinner. It weighs 3 grams a glove. So mine is 3 grams a glove. Yours is 4.2 grams a glove.
Yep.
You're a big old company. You're using 100,000 gloves a year.
Okay.
My gloves rip less, so I use 30% less. So if I'm using 70,000 gloves a year of a glove that weighs less,
right,
in the trash, I'm throwing away 210,000 grams of trash. You're throwing away 420,000 grams of trash.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we're doing the exact same process, but just by using a better glove, you're actually throwing away twice as much trash as I am.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's where it's like just having a better glove. If you actually look at the numbers and the math, accountants can also like it because if you're buying less gloves, you spend less money. But from a sustainability side of it, it's that trash can just doesn't fill up as fast. You're not dumping as much in the landfill. It's disposable. We're keeping everybody safe, but we're just doing it better.
Right. And I really love this when we talk to customers about this, because we kind of go through the cost savings that you can have. Because, you know, like Eagle, we have some good gloves, right? And so people kind of get scared when they're using a glove that might cost a lot less or cost, you know, but it's ripping 5 times before you get one glove that works. So it's fun to go through that and see kind of the savings in real time that companies can have.
Yeah. I think in that conversation, sometimes there's a disconnect between the people down on the floor that know the gloves are ripping and it's kind of been acceptable because that's just how the gloves perform.
Right.
And then purchasing, who's buying the gloves, who's very interested in cost.
Right.
When you go through that exercise and they hear how many of them on the floor are ripping, I think sometimes they're actually a little surprised by that because that's just for how many important conversations they have to have. Their gloves ripping just isn't something that operations and purchasing
like
seem to talk about frequently. Yeah. So when it comes to sustainability, it's the materials, it's the usage. There's a lot of things in sustainability. And if you back up to like sustainability 101, I think they say there's 7 R's in sustainability. R's, like a pirate.
7 R's.
7 R's in sustainability. So you can rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, regift, or recycle. So they're all great things to do to make a product, anything you're doing more sustainable. But in gloves, you can probably assume we're not going to
We're
be
gonna
repairing the
re-gift
gloves. We
this.
can't like melt them back together. I'm not going to, yes, regift them. That's what you're going to get for Christmas
Yep.
is my old
Thank
gloves.
you so much.
So there's just certain things we can't do. We like to focus on the reduction. So we can reduce the amount of gloves that are being used that are going into the waste. And so that's our that we can really
our
help
R.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our
Perfect.
that we
Yeah.
like to focus on because that's something we can really effectively make a difference at.
Yeah, and that's a big one. So I didn't realize there were that many R's in sustainability. I thought we
Yeah, I
were
didn't
we were
either.
at the 3 still, but I like that we've added more.
Yes, yes.
So okay, so that's our reduce kind of spiel. But section 5, this one is a quick one, but it is important. Vinyl gloves and their life cycle impact. So vinyl gloves are made from PVC and plasticizers, and across their life cycle, PVC is kind of associated with hazardous chemical release. And so you can see how that, if we're talking about sustainability, especially environmental sustainability, you can see how 1, that's not great, and 2, that can have other repercussions for people who are using them and whatnot. So
That's true. And full disclosure, we no longer sell disposable gloves. I think we stopped in
disposable vinyl.
Oh my God, vinyl gloves. I'm
We actually
sorry,
no longer
you
do what we
guys.
do.
We don't do work anymore. We do no work.
We actually did this live stream for fun.
Yes, just we come in on the off season. So we don't sell vinyl gloves anymore. So a full disclosure on that. But our reasoning behind that, I feel like has some really legit science behind it. And there is good reasoning. And I think it's also with good intentions that it's done. It's not, we're not trying to just be the pain in the ass and cause something in the industry. It's with vinyl gloves. We do have environmental concerns with them, but they also have very high failure rates. They're not as good of a barrier protection between you and what you're doing than a nitro glove is. They can have some harmful chemicals in them, like you're talking the plasticizers. Some of those are something that you just don't want to be wearing on your hand for hours a day. And then when you throw them away in the landfill, that also goes back into the earth. And so there is the chemical component of that as well, in addition to the ripping and the food safety, where we just have concerns across the board. So we stopped selling them because we do feel like nitro gloves are such a better option. And then we do have really thin nitro gloves. So they kind of is something where, since the nitro gloves last longer, it is something where they can be comparable to the vinyl gloves, but it is a conversation because it's a little bit of the gloves feel totally different for your workers, things like that. It's going to be a noticeable change when you switch to them. But I think the workers are also going to be happier with a more comfortable glove that stretches better, feels better, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But that is something where vinyl gloves from the sustainability side, we just don't think they're the best option out there.
Yep. So that's the gist of that one. And we have one final section today. Where is glove sustainability heading next?
Well, we are seeing, I think across the board in all industries, there's a lot more scrutiny for greenwashing. I mean, even if it's just the color of the box being like, wow, if I put green grass all over this, it kind of looks sustainable, doesn't it? And so there's just the claims. Some claims sound nice, but they're a little bit empty. So the greenwashing, I feel like people are becoming a little bit more aware of it because it's not such a new thing that now we actually know what the claims are, what they're talking about, what it means. There's also greater demand for third-party verification because if you're doing things the right way, prove it. You don't have to do the trust.
Prove it.
It's
guys.
like you just don't have to do the trust me.
Come on.
It's like if your product is better, just show me. And so I think third-party verification and having independent testing and those test results. I just ordered salt, just totally random off the thing, and they measure for microplastics, they measure for lead, they measure for all the things, and it was like it's salt, and you can get third-party testing, and I know I'm buying a good product. And so I think that is something that's becoming more common in a lot of different industries. We have the testing for our gloves, and we're really hoping that that's something that the glove industry kind of takes on, and it does become normal, and it's something that is a little bit more standard, so people know what they are getting, using, purchasing. And then also the regulatory reviews of those biodegradability claims. We're keeping an eye on that just as is watching and kind of where the industry and that product material goes. It'll be interesting to see what the scientists come up with, what they test, what the results are, that kind of a thing. So I'll admit it's way beyond my pay grade, but when they announce something, I can read the announcements and go with it. But I'm interested to see where that goes because I do think people are pursuing better options, and it'll be interesting to see where all of that goes. And then there's also increased transparency. And I think that kind of goes with the testing and things like that,
Yeah.
just showing where you get your product, showing where it comes from, showing what it is and what's actually in the bag or what you're getting in the box.
Well, okay. So you know how when you get, like when you get a lotion and it's like inside there's a separate like bag and it's way less product and you just kind of feel like really like sad and mad about it. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So like on the inside of like moisturizers, they like, it'll be like a tube of moisturizer. And on the inside, there's a second bag.
So they don't fill up the bottle?
They don't fill up the bottle. They fill up like this little
But they
bag.
make it a bigger bottle.
Yes. So I'm sorry, like for me, that stuff that like, that's what I mean. When we're talking transparency, like I understand.
That's sneaky.
It's like just a little sneaky. I don't appreciate it.
Yeah. I do think that we're expecting companies to be better and be more honest and things like that. And I think it's a great trend. I love where it's going. I think it's good for people to have information, that kind of a thing. It's great for companies to give information so we can make good choices because we know what we're getting, what we're purchasing, where it's coming from, that kind of a stuff.
Yeah. And we believe that the future with disposable gloves isn't necessarily about like a magic material that's going to come out and it's going to be like this amazing thing that just like disintegrates into the wind after you use it, but only after you use it. Like, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But it's about the traceability, the verification, the testing and the performance that reduces the amount of gloves that you use and unnecessary waste without, putting anyone in jeopardy.
Until we come up with something better, we might as well do the best we can with what we have.
Yes, exactly. That was very well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we like to wrap things up with some of the questions that we received. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. We love to answer those ones. Okay. So question number 1. If gloves are disposable, why worry about sustainability?
I think we've kind of covered a little bit for this, but I think sustainability also has to be something that either A, your company requires, or B, you as a person value this kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So sustainability, I don't feel like it's something that everybody honestly cares about. Some people will pay extra for it. Some people won't. Some people want it to be included, but won't put any money there. So I think there's a lot of different levels of where people are at in the sustainability world and how hard they'll pursue it, if you will. But I think it's important because we do have one world, and it's one of those where you don't have to change everything upside down with what you're doing. What we recommend is using a higher quality glove that lasts longer. It's more durable. So that's pretty straightforward. You honestly just take the box off the shelf and put a different box of better gloves there. You don't have to retrain your staff. You don't have to change any of your protocols. You don't have to do anything. You honestly just swap out products and it's going to happen. So if you don't have to retrain staff, I mean, that's just hours. And so it's like something you can do that's really relatively easy too.
Yeah.
So I think no matter where you are in that level of like, dude, sustainability, like, and no matter where you are in that level, I think that swapping out gloves is something that really everybody can do. And it meets you where you're at. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Okay, number 2, this is a fun one. Do sustainable gloves cost more?
I think that's kind of the catch-22 because what is a sustainable glove? So we don't sell compostable and biodegradable, so I can't speak to those gloves that have those claims on them. In the world, usually if there's some kind of additional claim to it, you expect to pay a little more. But honestly, with those ones, I don't know the pricing on those to see where they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
When it comes to our gloves, being the sustainable aspect of having the higher quality glove that rips less, it's thinner, so you're throwing away less material, but you also use less gloves. So in the long run, no, it's actually not more sustainable. So depending on how you view what a sustainable glove is, it can be no. That's what I'm going to say.
It can be no.
It can be no, or it could be, I don't know, because the other ones I just can't talk to because we don't sell them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then how can food, okay, so we did go over this. So how can food companies measure sustainability in glove usage?
Okay. So if it is the quality team, or sometimes there is somebody, their job is to track the sustainability, the environmental impact. Depending on your certification, sometimes you have to have report waste. You have to have So there are things that people track. I mean, the emissions you have and things like that. So sometimes it is a full-time job for somebody, depending on the size of the company, and their investment in that. And sometimes there's somebody who just fills out a report as part of their daily duties and amongst all of their other duties. But you do have to be able to measure it. So when it comes to gloves, ways that you could measure this and have some kind of documentation or data to put in with your reporting, you could measure like glove failure rates. If you had the old glove as a comparison, you could do that, or you could just see where you're at the time. And then you could also compare it to the industry standard. Actually, the industry standard ripping for nitrile is around 15 to 20%, which is, I think, freakishly high.
Yeah.
Ours are at a 0.5. So if that just gives a little comparison of what your documentation is, if you go from a 15% glove to a 0.5, so not even a 1% rip rate, like that would show sustainability. The number of gloves you use total in a year, just reducing the number would show that you're reducing waste and you're reducing the material in there. The thickness of the glove and the amount, you could calculate how much waste you're actually putting in the landfill. And then you could compare it to other years to show reduction, or you could just have that as a number that you report on each year. And then there's also the transparency thing that we're talking about too. If there's any testing on the gloves, and if it is like, let's say the chemical parts, to prove that there aren't some gnarly chemicals that you're throwing back in the dirt and putting back in earth, that would also be something I would think that would help your reporting at the end of the year.
Yeah. I think like if you could distill it down to like, all right, someone is watching this and they're like, well, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do. It would be like how many gloves you use and how many rip. I feel like that's a great place to start.
And even if it's just your usage throughout the year, because, okay, let's say I open a new facility, I open a new production line. If my production is increasing, my glove is going to increase. But then there's also maybe the ratio of output to the gloves used. And you can just have that be, keep a ratio that keeps it, what do you want to say, like kind of balanced. So even as your ratio number, as your company grows, would still be the same ratio number for your product output. So there are ways to calculate things. If you have questions, anything like that, you're the expert in your business, but we can help you come up with some ideas too, if it is from reporting and that kind of a thing, how to do it. If it comes to our gloves, we do have the testing for the range of our gloves, that kind of thing. So if you are the greenkeeper at your company, we can help.
Yes, we're happy to. So thank you. That's what we had for today. If you have any questions, please submit them. We will answer them if it's post live stream, if this is a comment. We monitor, and so just reach out whenever if you have any questions. We do this once a month, so keep an eye out because we will be doing this next month as well. And if you have any topics that you'd like us to cover, please let us know. We're always open to that. But yeah, hit subscribe because that's how you will get our updates and know when we're doing this next. Yes. So thank you for joining us on the Glove Lab.
And happy B Corp month.
Yes, happy B Corp month. And have a good day, everyone.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.